the dark origins of Thanksgiving.
But before we start, please support us by pressing like and subscribe buttons. Also turn on the bell notification to get the latest updates. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you.
In the grand American tradition, Thanksgiving is painted as a day of unity, a celebration of gratitude between native peoples and the pilgrims who landed upon the shores of the New World. Images of long wooden tables adorned with turkeys, corn, and pumpkins fill the imagination, while the story of the first Thanksgiving is retold to schoolchildren as a symbol of peace and cooperation. Yet beneath the polished tale lies a history more troubled, shadowed by conflict, betrayal, and tragedy. To understand the dark origins of Thanksgiving is to peer into the turbulent beginnings of colonial America, where ideals of harmony clashed with the harsh realities of conquest and survival. The familiar myth begins in 1620, when the Mayflower arrived at what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts. The Pilgrims, members of a separatist religious sect seeking freedom from persecution in England, landed upon an unforgiving coast in the middle of winter. Disease, hunger, and exposure claimed nearly half of them within months. Their survival seemed unlikely, and had it not been for the Wampanoag people, who had lived on those lands for thousands of years, the newcomers might never have endured. The Wampanoag, led by Chief Massasoit, offered assistance, teaching the settlers how to grow corn, fish the waters, and live from the land. The story goes that in 1621, after a successful harvest, the Pilgrims and Wampanoag joined together in a great feast, sharing food and fellowship. While such a gathering did occur, it was not the harmonious celebration later mythologized. Rather, it was a fragile truce, born of necessity, overshadowed by the specter of disease and the shifting balance of power in the region. For the Wampanoag, the Pilgrims represented both potential allies and potential threats. They had already witnessed their people devastated by epidemics brought by earlier European explorers. Their numbers had been cut drastically, weakening them in relation to rival tribes. By aligning with the Pilgrims, Massasoit sought protection and survival in a changing world. This moment of cooperation was fleeting. As more English settlers arrived, the delicate peace began to unravel. Colonization advanced rapidly, and with it came encroachment upon native lands. The settlers did not see themselves as temporary guests but as rightful owners, guided by a sense of divine destiny. The Wampanoag and other tribes soon found themselves displaced, their villages overrun, their autonomy eroded. Tensions grew, leading to outbreaks of violence that shattered any illusions of lasting friendship. The darker reality of Thanksgiving's origins emerges more vividly when one looks beyond the single feast of 1621. In 1637, only 16 years later, a very different kind of Thanksgiving was declared. The event stemmed from the Pequot War, a brutal conflict between English colonists, their native allies, and the Pequot tribe of present-day Connecticut. After months of skirmishes, the English launched a devastating attack on the Pequot village of Mystic. At dawn, colonial forces, along with Narragansett and Mohegan allies, set fire to the settlement, killing men, women, and children as they tried to flee. Contemporary accounts describe screams mingling with the crackle of burning homes, bodies falling by the hundreds in a massacre that left the Pequot as a people nearly destroyed. In the aftermath, the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony declared a day of Thanksgiving to celebrate the victory. This was not a feast of peace but of conquest, a solemn offering of gratitude to God for the destruction of an enemy. For decades afterward, similar Thanksgivings were proclaimed following successful battles against native peoples. The ritual of giving thanks was intertwined not with unity but with domination, a spiritual justification for the expansion of colonial power. The transformation of Thanksgiving into the benign national holiday known today came much later. In the 19th century, amid the turbulence of civil war, writer and activist Sarah Josepha Hale campaigned for a unifying festival of gratitude. Her efforts culminated in President Abraham Lincoln's proclamation of Thanksgiving as a national holiday in 1863. Lincoln envisioned it as a day to heal the wounds of a fractured nation, urging Americans to come together in gratitude despite the war tearing them apart. In doing so, He tied the holiday not to its darker colonial roots but to ideals of unity and moral purpose. Over time, the sanitized narrative of Pilgrims and Native Americans sharing a peaceful meal came to dominate public memory. Yet for many Native Americans, Thanksgiving remains a reminder of loss rather than harmony. Each year since 1970, Indigenous activists have gathered at Plymouth Rock to mark a national day of mourning, honoring ancestors and speaking truth to the history that has too often been silenced. They remember not only the broken treaties and stolen lands, but also the resilience of native cultures that endured against overwhelming odds. For them, the myth of Thanksgiving is part of a broader story of erasure, where colonial violence is glossed over by comforting legends. To understand the holiday in its fullness, one must embrace the complexity of these origins. The feast of 1621 did occur, but it was not the beginning of a timeless friendship. It was a brief moment in a larger saga of struggle. The massacres of the 1630s reveal how quickly gratitude turned into triumphalism, sanctifying acts of brutality under the banner of divine providence. And the later reinvention of Thanksgiving as a national holiday shows how collective memory can be reshaped, smoothing over conflict to create symbols of unity. The dark origins of Thanksgiving do not erase the values of gratitude and togetherness that many cherish today. Families who gather around tables each November are not celebrating conquest but connection, taking time to reflect on blessings and bonds. Yet acknowledging the holiday's roots offers a deeper honesty, one that allows room for both remembrance and renewal. By facing the past, Americans can honor the resilience of indigenous peoples and recognize that true gratitude must include truth. Thanksgiving, then, is a mirror of American history itself, marked by ideals of freedom and faith, yet shadowed by violence and dispossession. Its story is one of survival and adaptation, of myths created and challenged. The Pilgrims' Feast, the Pequot Massacre, Lincoln's Proclamation, and the Native Day of Mourning all form threads of a tapestry that continues to unfold. To see only the bright colors is to miss the shadows that give the picture depth. In the end, the origins of Thanksgiving remind us that history is never simple. It is layered with triumph and tragedy, myth and reality, hope and heartbreak. By telling the story in full, with all its light and darkness, we honor the complexity of the human past and open space for a more honest gratitude. One that acknowledges suffering, remembers resilience, and seeks justice in the present. Thanksgiving, when stripped of its comforting myths, is not simply a tale of harmony between pilgrims and native peoples but a reflection of America's tangled beginnings, an origin marked by survival, fleeting alliances, violent conquest, and later reinvention into a national symbol of unity. To remember its darker truths is not to diminish the values of gratitude and family that define the holiday today, but rather to ground them in honesty, ensuring that remembrance includes those who suffered as well as those who thrived. By embracing both the light and shadow of its history, Thanksgiving can serve as more than a celebration of abundance.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you like videos like this. Thank you.